Ladies and gentlemen, it is a real privilege to introduce our next guest. Tommy Breedlove is he's a Wall Street Journal and USA Today best-selling author of the book Legendary, a copy of which you'll all receive today. Tommy and I exchanged books probably a year ago and read each other's book and we're like, we basically wrote the same thing, just in different ways, or we think alike in different ways. He's also a business relationship and a mindset coach who's a regular featured keynote speaker at global events. He started his 20-year corporate career at one of the largest financial consulting firms in the world and eventually became a shareholder, the international practice leader, and a member of the board of directors for one of the largest public accounting and financial firms in the southeast of the U.S. At the top of his career, Tommy experienced a transformational moment, inspiring him to walk away from the corporate world to change his life and follow his true calling. Remember that what we talked about earlier, that transformation economy? Tommy is a walking, living, breathing example of this. He now serves clients and audiences everywhere by empowering them to build and live legendary lives. He guides people to discover a life of significance while building a lasting legacy. The simple tools he shares shows them how to work in their zone of brilliance, obtain the financial confidence, and live with meaning and balance. The goal is to help everybody to become the person they've always wanted to be. When Tommy isn't speaking or serving his clients, he enjoys traveling the world, hiking, and spending quality time with his wife and 2 dogs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is really a pleasure of mine, so I want you to please join me in welcoming my really good friend, Tommy Breedlove.
Thanks, everybody. If I had to do this bet again, I would say a red Georgia Bulldog shirt. How many of you Ohio boys thought that was Green Bay? Yeah. That was intentional. Little side trivia note, did you know the University of Georgia, they used to be called the Georgia Goats, I'm not kidding, and then they became the Georgia Bulldogs, actually called Green Bay Packers to get permission to use that G, and Green Bay said, take it with no money. You think that would happen today? No chance. So, little side note. I'm going to do something that I've never done before, but the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, if you have a computer up or your crack cocaine near you, i.e. your cell phone, I would love for you to turn it down. I assume this is called chief executive boards, that most of you are executives in your companies, and if you can't go without a phone or email or your computer for the next 3 hours as I'm speaking, that's on you. We'll talk about leadership in a different sphere. So I'm about to do something I've never done before, and I'm going to tell you where it came from. We're actually not going to do a keynote. We're going to do something else. We were eating with some good friends of ours on Saturday night. Was it Saturday night? And we're going to. So this whole topic is about you guys, leading yourselves within. Because how do we lead others if we can't lead ourselves? How do we respect others if we don't respect ourselves? How do we love others if we don't really love ourselves? Yeah, got your attention. I know you're all important. See your arms crossed. Stay with me. Stay with me. But the person said, hey, no, I think Heather said first, my wife, by the way, who's here, said, you should let me interview you. If you're going to really talk about leading yourself and being a better man, a better human, better husband, better leader, blah, 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 why don't you let me interview you? And the person sitting with us says, I'm all in. Let's do it. Let's do it. So we asked the next person, the next slide. They're like, yeah, you guys should do that. That's going to be amazing. So Kevin's not paying me to be here because he's a good friend of mine, so I've waived my big speaking fee, so I get to do whatever the hell I want anyway. So without further ado, let me introduce my wife so that you guys know what she does for a living. She's the chief financial officer of the largest vinyl and fabric distribution company in America. She owns a small hotel and lodge in Dahlonega, Georgia called the Mountaintop Lodge. You'll hear about that later from Kevin. She is the author of a women's journal called Shine Your Bright, which is a reintroduction to yourself because sometimes we lose who we really are. She's been my wife for 20 years. We've been together for 25 years. So without further ado, by the way, I have no idea what she's going to ask. I'm not kidding. We haven't been together. We've been crossing in airports lately. So I have no idea what she's going to ask. So without further ado, please welcome my wife, Heather Breedlove.
I think I want to see you, though. Can we separate these?
What do you want me to do?
I just want you to move over there, just so I can see
Is that okay, camera?
the camera. I mean, what's the worst that can happen here?
Am I in it?
You're going to have the projector shining on you right there.
Good?
Are you good?
Can you see me? I'm good to go.
All right.
I really have no idea what she's about to ask.
This may be a good thing that you moved away.
Well, I mean, I want to be able to see his reactions and judge, like, are we going the right direction? Did I make him uncomfortable? Because, yeah, we are not doing Facebook Live now, so all these people that thought it was a great recommendation can watch. But I understand the topic today is leading from the inside out. And I will start with going straight in on a get-to-know-you question, Tommy. I know we have gone through several different chapters in life, and a lot of those chapters have shifted and started over because you did choose to lead from the inside in and make a transition. So what story would you share with us today about leading yourself through a transition?
Yeah, so great question. So I'll give the one big transition I was at. 36 years old. I come from very humble beginnings. So very blue-collar part of the world. Nobody in my family has ever gone to college. Scheduled to be the first person to go to college in my family, get out of that neighborhood, get away from that violence, get away from all the other stuff. Unfortunately, at 18 years old, and I had a bunch of rides to a bunch of different universities, instead of going to college with some of those full rides, I became that violence and abuse that I hated, and I committed a violent crime at 18 years old and was looking at 7 years in prison. See, there's some of you that still can't get rid of your email, I'm telling you. It's crazy, crazy. So I was looking at 7 years in prison. Luckily, it was dropped down to 2 heavy misdemeanors, was sentenced to 2 years, but instead of going to a full ride to the University of Georgia, go Dogs, I was sentenced to 2 years and spent my 19th birthday incarcerated. Really cool thing that happened. So that's transition 1, and I'm gonna get to transition 2 is even more interesting. Interesting happened there. African-American gentleman stepped over racial lines. That does not happen in those institutions, by the way. It's very, very rare. And it was the first male leader that ever stepped into my life. And he showed me what being a man is, what being accountable is. He called me young blood. He said, young blood, you're not gonna become a part of this revolving door system. And with his help, I picked myself up, dusted myself off, went to work in a nuclear waste container factory during the day, community college at night. Did end up at the University of Georgia, and one of the things I'm very proud of is I went from a jail cell to Deloitte in 3 years. Pretty cool accomplishment. I'm not sure what Deloitte's HR policies are, but I got through. I did.
We waited on the background check. Like, we kept waiting.
Yeah, we did. We were like, shit, are they gonna really hire me, huh? And I think they're now the largest public accounting and financial consulting firm in the world. Fast forward 16 years, I thought just by out competing, out hustling, out politicking, I'm just gonna win. And I thought the more money I had, the more success I had, the more fame I had, I was going to be happy. And here we are at 36 years old. I literally had this corner office that about the size of this room, TVs everywhere, looking down on the city of Atlanta, fancy suit, cufflinks, you name it, all the shiny bells and whistles. And on the outside, he said, this guy looks successful. And on the inside, I was crumbling. Still that scared, little, angry, rageful boy who just wanted to compete and beat everyone. And when the money, the power, success, and we were married at the time, still married, thank God. But go team, go team. Get to that later, go team. When that didn't fuel me up, I literally turned to all the stuff that you read about, the cliches they write movies about. Literally, I lived the Wolf of Wall Street lifestyle for about 3 years. I literally did. And then one day, I literally woke up in a ditch in downtown Atlanta, looking up at the blue sky, probably doing some multi-million-dollar M&A deal or audit the week before. There I am, laying, didn't know, I'm half dressed, didn't know what car was. I'm like, who the hell are you? Where are you going? And why are you this way? And what I realized is I never dealt with that rage, that anger, and being told as a little puppy how unlovable and a piece of garbage I was. I still believed that. Didn't matter what I looked like and how successful I was on the outside. And I said, I'm not going to tell myself that story anymore. I'm going to rewrite that story. So with great coaching, great therapy, great really looking inside, great leading. Oh, that's a different slide. Oh, you get to see my name the whole time. There you go. Listen to Tommy talk about Tommy. But with a lot of great coaching, a lot of great mentoring, literally, let me tell you what happened on the outside, just by being me, not being the funny guy, the important guy, the I sold my company guy, that I'm smarter than you guy. And I wore all those masks. I heard some of that last night, by the way, in conversations. I wore all of those masks. When I just started being Tommy, let me tell you what happened at the firm. In 3 years, I went from junior partner to senior partner to international practice leader to shareholder to elected to the boards. Money doubled, network 10x'd. We were winning all these awards. That's the tangible stuff. Who really gives a shit about that? The intangible stuff, that's what happened just by being a good leader, a good person, but being me, not being something that those firms and my clients and society wanted me to be, just by being me. The lovely part that happened is our marriage went from life support to rock solid. I found peace, contentment, balance, happiness in life. Friendships, I fired all these negative people and friends in my life, and they just flourished. And then at 36 years old, the big transition, at 39 years old, when I went through that transition, I'll close with this, and I'll let you ask another question, is at 39 years old, here I am at the top of the world. I'm on the board, making a lot of money. And my network, corporate executives, entrepreneurs, bankers, lawyers, venture capitalists, M&A people, men and women just started reaching out. They're like, hey, man, what did you do? Like, I knew you here, and look at you here. What did you do? What magic pill is it? Tell me what you're doing. I want to do that. Because they saw our relationship. They saw the awards we're winning. They saw the money. They saw the happiness. I went from 90 hours a week literally down to 35. But the success kept coming, and I told them the magic formula. So about the 15th or 20th one that asked me to do this, you might want to tell a little different version of how this happened, but I decided to sell my equity in the company, resign, and chase a dream, and that's where the best-selling book came out of. That's where we're speaking all over the planet now, and we've got this arsenal from coaching to, you were talking about a transformational experience. Executives, men and women, paid to come to our lodge to get a transformational experience, to work on this muscle, and not religion, but if it's important to them, this muscle. And so we have created a transformational experience company, a coaching company, a retreats, conferences, and so it's been a journey. So that's a little bit about my story. Enough about that. Let's talk about the work. Let's lean in.
Well, and I would add a couple of things come to mind there. That the first being, I remember the day. Well, they're both stories are from the same day. He calls me on Valentine's Day, driving to work, and I thought we were going to be talking dinner plans. Where are we going to dinner? He goes, today's the day. Well, I knew the day was supposed to be in October that he was going to walk away from this, but on Valentine's Day, he decided to quit. So one thing that was important to me was don't tell me no, let's talk about how. So I got on board, and that was our day. He walked away. But
that was 65% of our household income went out the door in 6 months. So,
I mean, who doesn't start over at 39? But the other thing, and especially being in accounting, it took me a while to get my personality right. I'm very black and white. But one of the first things I learned from him is one of the reasons he walked away, because the first board meeting behind closed doors, when they were talking about people as commodity, let's hire and fire based on a $10,000 client, he couldn't get on board with that. And that was a big part of that change. And that's when I started looking more at the personality and leadership of business rather than just the financial impact.
yeah, let me tell you what she's actually talking about. My first board meeting, and I was 39-ish, and they were all mostly in their 60s. And a payroll to revenue ratio was 0.03 off. These are CPAs and accountants. And if you know any CPAs and accountants in the room? Okay, only one, so I can talk about you. But with love. With love. Like, if you want to know how to run a business, see what they're doing and like do the exact opposite, and then you'll be very successful. That's what I've done. Like, do the opposite. I could write a whole book on that. Like, don't do that, and you'll be really successful.
He does love you.
I do. I am you. So, but literally, this young lady who was on my team, she's been on my team for 5 years, and they wanted to fire her. And most of the people in the room made in excess of $1 million a year. So you're talking a couple of $1,000s net of tax to each one of those human beings. That's really what it was amounting to them, which is not a significant amount of money. And I just remember that I knew what she meant to the team. I knew what she meant to the clients. I knew what she meant to continuity. I knew she spoke 5 languages and we had an international practice, but they just saw a ratio, and they also saw that she didn't fit in a little bit because she looked a little different. And I'm not even going to go into that. But I remember literally almost having to jump up and down on that table. By the way, that woman is up for partner in that firm right now. That's how hard I fought for her, because they were just looking at a number and not the ecosystem behind it. And so if we don't think humans matter, we think all this technology stuff that we saw earlier, humans matter. We crave connection now more than we ever had. You know what? It's not political. You know what the problem with COVID is we're isolated. We crave human contact. We crave our tribe. We crave like-minded people. We want to be together. We're pack animals. And so we start clawing at each other. So if we don't think humans matter in business, come see me afterwards. We'll chat.
All right. So we talked about your
Didn't know we were going there, so nice job.
I try. Where do you want to go next?
You tell me.
No, I'm not going to. Okay. So we talked about the transition. What we didn't talk about was that's the exterior story. What's the interior story? And what does leading from within really mean to you? Now, don't go too deep on any topic, because I got a lot of deep dives here.
So I'll speak for this room, and I'm not speaking for you, but this is the data, because I get the pleasure of working with executives and entrepreneurs, men and women, and so this is the data. So don't send me hate mail if you don't like something, because this is data. Don't let the story get in the way of good data. We like to say we put our families first. That's bullshit. But let me tell you what you put first is your career and your business. That's what we put first. You wouldn't be sitting here. So that's what the data says. What we put second is our family, our network, and our friends. And what we put third is us. That's the truth. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And so for me, what leading within means is if you want to be a great leader, the best thing that you could do for your company, the best thing that you could do for your family, the best thing you could do for your people is invest in yourself first. It's not the most selfish thing you can do. It's actually the most selfless thing you can do. So every day, and I won't go too deep into this, Legendary, by the way, which you guys all have a copy back there, a signed copy back there. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you don't like reading, get the Audible and I'll read it to you. So, but to me, leading yourself in is we've got to work on this muscle. Every single person in this room struggles from self-confidence issues, self-esteem issues, mommy and daddy issues. We're not going there. I'm not here to emotionally vomit on you. We all struggle. Am I not good enough in some way? Am I not skinny enough, fast enough, smart enough, rich enough? What if they figure out I don't know what the hell I'm doing? We've all got it. They call it imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. Even I've got it. And so how do we cut through the noise of social media and 24-hour news? I heard two guys. I had to get up from a blues bar table last night to go stand next to Kevin so I didn't hear a political conversation with world-class musicians right over there. And I'm like, oh my God. How do we cut through all that? It's by investing in our hearts, by investing in our minds, by becoming the masters of our mindset, reconquering our time, developing unconditional respect for yourself, self-confidence. And by the way, confidence is two things. Confidence is what you do for a living. You wouldn't be sitting here if you didn't have confidence in what you do for a living. That's just doing reps, right? True confidence, by the way, is developing your self-esteem. Standing taller, head up, shoulders back. Truly respecting yourself, truly loving yourself. We all struggle from that. So when I say leading yourself, if we don't go to the gym, what happens? Look what, I gained 20 pounds over COVID. I don't know what I ate and drank, but apparently it was all of it. But I'm taking it all out again. But if we don't develop our physical muscles, they atrophy. Same thing goes with your heart muscle. your mind muscle, and if it's important to you, your soul muscle. Those are muscles. If you don't develop it, they atrophy. If you don't think we're mentally and emotionally and spiritual weak, turn on CNN, Fox News, or NBC. Turn it on now. That's how weak we are. The puppeteers, and we're just sheep being puppeted. So it's about investing in this muscle, and this muscle. We have to invest in ourselves first. Leadership. By the way, I'll say one more thing. Do you know what the number one failure in leadership is? And it's the muscles I'm talking about. Do you know what it actually is? The number one failure in leadership. You guys are all leaders, right? Self-awareness. Knowing thyself. Not what we see when we look in the mirror. What do our people see? And how are we walking, showing? How are we talking? How are we showing up? It's about leading yourself.
Awesome.
Yeah. She's like,
I mean, you only cleared 2 questions.
Okay.
I hadn't gotten to.
Okay, got it.
You know, a lot of people, when we think about leading ourselves, it's about the next big thing, the next big leap. And I think earlier on, when I was younger, that's what scared me the most. Through all we've been through, for some reason, big leaps don't scare me anymore. It's the small ones, and it's the daily motivation. And how do I get my head right to go make that small step today? So when we talk about the scope of leading yourself, anything you've got from just that daily energy to lead yourself?
Ask me that again. I'm not sure. Another
All right.
question.
Well, there is like the big leap where we want to make steps and strides towards that. But then there's also the how do I show up today, show up for me, show up for my people? How do I show up to lead myself into having my best day to commit to my goal?
Got it. Let me round out, since I gave you the number one kind of overlooked item in leadership. Let me just round that out real quick, and then I'll answer that question. The number one attribute that your people are looking for in leaders, by the way, we talked about already, is confidence. That's what they want. They want confidence. But it's not about confidence in your craft. That's easy. That's just doing that's shooting the basket or hitting the golf ball or whatever your crafts are. That's the easy part. But they want confidence in it within. And they can feel it, they can sense it. So anyway, so what do you daily do? So I am a big fan of small, daily, doable actions every single day. I have a morning routine. Who in here has a morning routine? Sweet.
Ask them how long they've had it.
How long have you had it?
Since Kevin told us to do it.
Came to the retreat, brother. Came to the retreat. I'm telling you, that's where Elijah. But yeah, you had a pretty good routine when you got there. We just tweaked it a little bit. So I'm going to give you. So if you're an executive, and I love that you're here because you have a board. I'm sure it's about how do I get more efficient? How do I cut the payroll? How do I got a customer coming down. I got a bad partner. I've got competitors breathing down. But part of this should be about who you are as a human and leading yourself. So the first thing I would say, I get paid nicely to coach groups, settings, one-on-one. Guess what I have? A coach. So that's the first thing I would say is I always want to be better. So if you're an executive without a coach, all of the people we look up to, great athletes, great musicians, great executives, I have a coach. So for me, I always want to see my emotional, mental, leadership blind spots, but I also always want to sharpen that pencil just because I am addicted to excellence. And so I will say that. But on your daily, and those coaches help me hold accountable to my core values, who I am, where I'm going, what I stand for, and I'm very transparent and authentic, by the way. Let me give you the 2 others because I just said authentic. The 2 other things they want is optimism. So if you're talking politics a lot, or whether you should wear a mask or not, or whether you think these economics, that's not optimism. That's the exact opposite. Second thing that people want is optimism. The third is authenticity. That does not mean emotionally vomiting. That means being authentic, and I'll come back to that in a second. But every day, the guys and gals that do the routine, read every self-development and leadership book you can get your hands on. If you don't like reading them, listen to them. It's the number one thing that changed my life. There's no magic pill. There's nobody coming to save you. Read everything you can get your hands on. Second is apply it. apply one thing. Action without intention and intention without action is bullshit. So you have to take intentional action. You have to take action and in leadership, by the way. You know, just acting is like, you've gone a long way, brother. You went the wrong way, brother. So, you know what I'm saying? So you got to take intentional action. So read everything you can get. Second thing that's changed my life, and I hope you've suggested this too, is gratitude. Every single day I write gratitudes and intentions every single day. It's actually up in my hotel room right now. It's impossible to be scared, worried, insecure, angry, judgmental when you're in a state of gratitude. So every day I write down 5 things I'm grateful for. And then I write down intentions that I'm working on. So here's the intentions. It's not affirmations, it's intentions. So what am I working on right now? I thank myself. Thank you, Tommy. That's self-love. By the way, we all struggle with whether we're lovable, truly lovable. Thank you, Tommy. That's self-love, giving ourselves a little credit because we're so hard on ourselves. Thank you, Tommy, for being a loving, present husband. Been working on it. But after I write it for 3 weeks solid, guess what? When I want to be snappy or have a business conversation or not be present or pick up the crack cocaine, which is our phones, I go back to loving and present. Thank you, Tommy, for being a confident, optimistic, authentic leader. Don't know if I am those 3 things. I need to ask my team. The things that I'm working on in my life, I write them down every day as if they're happening. So gratitudes, affirmations, intentions, I write them every single day. This has worked for me. It works for 90% of my clients. This is totally optional for you. Sometimes some people don't like this. But I have meditated every day for 13 years almost. And I have become proactive and not reactive. I'm not living out in the future somewhere in the past. I'm looking through the front mirror. It's made me the most present I can possibly be. And I'm as ambitious, as driven as anybody in here. I promise you I am. But being present, laser focused. So read everything, gratitude journal, meditate. If it's important to you, pray. Meditation's inside, prayer is outside. If it's important to you, pray. I'm not telling you to wherever you pray to a head of lettuce or to Allah or God or whatever you want to call it. Just pray. And then the last thing, journaling is very helpful, but the last thing that I do every single day is I take a walk outside in nature to think. I get hit. We've got how many operating businesses right now? I can't even tell you.
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, we were on the phone. We have so many different brands and businesses and things happening right now. It gets overwhelming. I need Tommy time, selfless time, thinking time. Get out. Actually, Lindsay's in the back. She was like, you got to get your ass up and start walking now. No headphones, no news, no all that. So.
Oh, good. I was going into noise.
Noise.
I was scared you were going to get there before I did. We do, and like I'll share this morning, today, all of a sudden our chef at our bed and breakfast has food poisoning this morning. And my first comment was, oh God, please tell me it was not our food.
Right.
And then, I mean, I think she should have just told me that from the beginning, right? From the get-go, I got food poisoning elsewhere. But like having to navigate that and deal with that and then deal with the wedding party that's there this weekend and their guest list has gone from 205 to 155. All of that noise, right? I know how you feel about noise, but what are some of the big noise things that you see from your clients that get in their way the most?
People come to me to make more money, to be better leaders, to be more powerful, be more efficient, because I have that financial background. 9 out of 10, and I've got the data. This isn't like anecdotal. I'm not making this up. 9 out of 10 struggle majorly with at least one relationship. It's usually their significant other. The more ambitious and driven you are, it's usually your significant other. I'm just going to say that. That doesn't mean all of you. It means about 8 or 9 out of 10 of you. I'm not going to give you the data because it's frightening. They struggle in their sex lives. They struggle with issues with their children. The more ambitious and driven you are, you will see that manifest in your. You still can be an at-home parent, but are you at home? You will see that. So that's some of the noise that they deal with. It's some of the pressures. These are real pressures. These aren't fake. Relationship issues with your significant other. confidence issues, self-esteem issues, chasing the ghost of more and when. When I get here, I'll be successful. I hear it every day of my life. When I get here, I'll be happy. It's some destination out there. Or when I have this, or when I have more of this. And so the noise is the internal pressures, and the noise is people, if you don't own or run or manage a business, people don't understand a profit burden. They don't understand the employment burden, the human burden of running a business. It's real. And, dealing with little shit like Susie's mad at Joey today and got to deal with Susie and Joey. I'm like, we got business to run. All the way up to big issues with a relationship. And here's the sad truth. So here's some of the data says, they come to me for this, but then I work on a holistic solution. It's like you got to be good at home. You got to be good with your heart. You got to be good with your mind. You got to lead yourselves. You can't be a different person in front of your clients and your people than you are at home, and we struggle with that. I'm telling you, the data is off the charts. And let me tell you, post-COVID, because of the absolute noise, and it's pure noise. Because let me tell you, and this is how powerful the noise in our media is. I have 20 world-class surgeons, doctors, and people with big degrees making a lot of money. 50% of them are over here on the COVID thing, and 50% of them are over here. These are people in the profession, man. It's what they read. That's it. What they hear, what they listen. It's the craziest thing. So here's what we're all dealing with. Let me tell you this. There's this overall insecurity, this worry, this fear, this you're with us or you're against us. And you know what the news is telling you? All of you. I don't care if you watch Fox or MSNBC. I don't care which side you're listening. You know what they're telling you? You're a victim. These people are trying to take something. You're a victim. And we have the solution to your victimhood. You're being fed a story. It is pure ass noise. It is meant to make you mad. It is meant to make you scared. It is meant to divide you because it sells advertising. And who uses Twitter in this room? Thank you for your courage. If you're on Twitter, here's the data. If you're on Twitter for more than 3 minutes a day, you're 60% more likely to say you had a bad day. That, my friends, is noise and power. Think about that. You want to tell you the power of a cell phone? There's some other data. I'm a junkie on data. That's the accountant in me, brother. But I work in the heart and mind business too, so I like to round it out. If you work out and your cell phone is in the room, you're not on it, just in the room, your workout is 13% less efficient. Could you imagine that?
I had to try to prove you wrong on that one, but it worked.
It wasn't me. These are really smart people coming up with this stuff. I read smart people. I like Singularity University. I read smart people's things. So let me, if social media, envy, and your children, I'm telling you, how many of you have children? Limit their social media use ASAP. Body issues, self-esteem issues, depression issues, addiction issues. By the way, that's everybody in this room too. But they're really getting it. Am I good enough? Am I pretty enough? Am I sexy enough? Am I smart enough? Am I black enough? Am I white enough? It just doesn't reconcile with their operating systems. And they're being fed this poison in the data with suicides, depression, addiction. I'm not here to scare you. I'm just here to be honest. You got to limit it, you got to minimize it, and you got to bring the human back into them ASAP. Same thing for us. We're getting inundated. Our eyes and ears are getting inundated. And even when we turn on Netflix, I'm going to own it. I love Peaky Blinders. I'm about halfway through that. There is nothing but garbage there. So think about it. Our eyes and ears, it's just poison, 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 poison. And now I don't know why I'm pissed off. I don't know why I'm judging Kevin. I don't know why I don't like this guy. Why am I angry? Why am I worried? I used to like Bill, but Bill voted for a Democrat. Now I can't like Bill, and I vote all over the place. That was just a statement. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. I don't think you know me politically. I promise you don't. So here's the thing about news. How many of you actually watch the news or read the news every day? Be honest. Okay, that's a lot. Okay. Here's the truth. I applied this into my life many years ago, and then I'll stop, I promise. You asked me about noise. This is my soapbox. This is what I'm fighting against. People ask you your why. You guys are not victims. People are compassionate, loving. Look at children on a playground, man. We come out of the womb with compassion and empathy. We are good people. We are not victims. We are not bigots. We're good humans. And anyway, I'll get off my. So that's what I'm fighting against. Where was I going with that?
Just turn it off.
If you don't watch try this, write this down. Don't watch the news for 3 days. I know it's like crack cocaine. Don't watch your news for 3 days. See how many of your friends, family members, or colleagues tell you what's happening in the news. You get your news from your friends. And guess what happens when you turn it off? You don't feel the anger. You can feel it in your shoulders. Turn on the news and watch your body. Watch yourself shrink. Watch the anger. Literally you shrink. But don't do it for 3 days and see how much news you actually miss. Your friend, if it's big enough and important enough, the Afghanistan thing that happened recently, 10 people told me about it. And then they tell you your opinion about it. So you get both of those. So I'll stop.
Awesome.
I really don't watch the news, do I?
No, and I haven't watched it for maybe my whole life.
Yeah.
And I do notice when I travel, I'll be getting my coffee in the lobby, and I'm like, why am I so stressed out? And it's literally just because it's right over me at the coffee pot.
Yeah.
But moving on, because there's a lot of great things. I mean, that people keep trying to do the Good News Channel, but it just hadn't.
But we do have to take the poison out of our eyes and ears and put nutrition in. Conversation with a friend. Watch God's TV, which is a fire. Go look at a fire. Get out in nature. Read a great book. Watch a podcast. Call a friend. Call Kevin. You want to feel good about yourself? Call this man. Every time I talk to the man, I feel like I'm 2 feet taller. So, I mean, connect with humans. Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
I mean, you could talk to your spouse. We could talk about relationships and how supportive they can be in business. Or the noise, right?
Yeah, let's talk there. I'm on my soapbox now. Here's a rule for you. Write this down. Write this down. When it comes to a human being, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. One thing we don't have in this room is a lot of time, and it's our depreciating asset.
And that doesn't mean go get a divorce.
I'm
Think
not
about
telling
it
you
for
to
a
do that.
second.
Yeah, think about it. If there's a human being in your life, a friend, a family member, a colleague, if they're streaming judgment and anger and hate and cynicism and fear and gossip, fire them. All the greats around the world have talked about you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and I am a living example of that. And it starts right here. She grew up on one side of the tracks. I grew up on, this is the most abundant, we can do it, optimistic, loving. She can't even, I don't know if you can spell the word fear. And it has rubbed off on me. I would still be driving a 91 Topaz with no air conditioning and 2 hubcaps if I hadn't met this woman. Didn't matter how much money I made, because I grew up in the money's for them and it's scarcity, you know. And so, if people aren't a hell yes, it's a no. If someone calls you and says, hey, let's go grab coffee, and you're like, oh, that's a no. If the phone rings and you actually answer it, that's a hell yes. If your phone rings and you press the button, that's a no. So when it comes to human beings and managing your time, same thing with your spouse. And here's what, in my opinion, here's what saved us. You're going to have to respond to this one. We were on life support. And I was closed, I was angry, I was raging. We looked on the outside, and we would show up to all these events looking as good as we can be in our stuff. Ooh, look at the Breedloves. Behind the scenes, it was awful. And when I said enough is enough, and here's the key to great relationships, and I get to talk money and relationships all day long, is we have to do the work on ourselves first. And it comes from great therapy and great coaching. And some of you might not need therapy. It doesn't matter to me. Reconciling the past and coaching is about going forward, getting better, sharpening that pencil. So I did all the work, and it's like climbing a mountain. You know, most human beings, the reason they're poor, broke, pissed, and think that politicians are important is because they're standing on the ground. But once you start climbing that mountain, your view changes. How you see, you vibrate differently. What you see is different. The opportunities you see are different. And I started climbing that mountain in my view, and I continued, I work on this. I'm in this business, and I work on it every single day. But I started doing my work, started standing in my power, started getting more confident, more courageous, more loving, more compassionate, less angry. Came back, and when I left, I went to this 7-day retreat, for lack of a better word, in Tennessee. And they cut me open for 4 days, like emotionally and mentally, and then put me back together for 3 days. Pretty badass. So if you want to know where that is, it's in the book. But I figured when I got back, she's gone. And we're two people making good money with no kids. I said, just leave me like a pair of pants and a shirt, and I'll rebuild. Have it all. You earned it. When I got back, she was still there. Now, pissed and angry and upset, rightfully so. But she saw something different. And, you know, you have to earn respect, and it can be taken away like that. I mean, like that. And so, but she saw me working hard. She saw me doing the work to the point that you wanted to go to the same place and figure out who you were. So here's what we did, and then I'll let you answer, is we started working on ourselves, and we still do. And then we started working together stronger and breaking that codependent nonsense cycle that we all are in. And we continue to work on it this day. I'd love to hear your perspective, because she might see it completely differently than that. So,
Well, we kind of describe it as I grew up in white picket fences, and Tommy grew up in a much more volatile household. His parents were still very married, but we got married and we were living our parents' marriages, and there was this thing, and like no one ever told us you can figure out your marriage and you can make it what you want it to be and navigate each other. And when we got to this transition and this point, I think for me, when he went to Tennessee and came back, I was angry, because all of a sudden he had gone through this transition and he's spent a week really getting to know himself and understand himself. While I felt like for 10 years we were the Breedloves, and I'd been keeping all of our shit together, from my career to even his career to some degree, to our marriage, to the household, like keeping those units together. And all of a sudden he's back and perfect, and it's, let's go forward. And I was angry because now I'm like, you expect me to level up after all of this. And it's scary. I think a lot of us get complacent in our relationships, and we don't necessarily ask, are we growing together? And I think that's why a lot of divorce happens sometimes. You either get so far apart, or one spouse starts to do work and starts to grow and level up, and the other spouse is just afraid because they're going to have to learn something new. They're afraid they're going to leave, so a lot of times they try to suppress the other one from growing. And so it was just this big stew. But he did come back, and he had great things to say about Tennessee. And his first thing was, you got to go. Well, it scared me, and I don't normally get scared. And I remember driving to Tennessee, and I was on the phone with my best friend, and everybody needs a best friend, right? She's like, you could skip it, and you could just come fake it, and he'll never know you didn't go. Just come to my house. But I went, and like I learned things, and I mean, now it seems so elementary. But when I got angry, like my go-to emotion is laughter. If I fall, if I trip, which is a lot, I laugh. If I get angry, I laugh. And so we were trying to have a serious conversation, and I'd get uncomfortable and I'd laugh. But those are kind of the tools that I had to learn about myself to really integrate with the stronger foundation we started to build. So
yeah, we were on the outside very successful, but on the inside, not so much. Now that we've, again, leading yourself from the inside. Once we got our household together, we have 2 mantras now. One of them is protect and defend this fort at all costs, and that starts here. We have a moat around our fort. And the second, and that's with time, with people we allow in. And it sounds mean. It's not. It's just to protect and defend this fort. You got to meet certain standards. And I have 2 rules for friends. Do they make me happy, or do they make me better? And usually the people that make me better don't make me happy. So protect and defend this fort, and we show up and honor our commitments to each other and everybody else. So that's what's come out of that. So.
And I think we could take it kind of from your primary relationship and your spouse, and maybe let's expand a little bit on your inner circle, your board of directors, as you call them. We've done a lot, and I've learned every time I get an idea, and some of our inner circle will say, have you lost your mind, right? There's that group. And then there's the other group that's like, well, that's just what you guys do. You take a leap and you go for it. I love those people. But I know you have a lot of conversations around that type of, like your board of directors. So how do you start to transition to a healthy group?
Yeah, so I hope this comes across okay.
If not, I'll cut your mic.
I effing hate devil's advocates. Oh my God. Are there any in the room? Don't raise your hand because I don't want to know.
Oh, I can't be one.
Why do we play devil's advocate? No, just get out of the way and let me go forward, man. And the reason, it's 9 out of 10 opinion, not wisdom. There's a difference between opinions and wisdom. Again, see the news. Opinions usually have the word should in them. It's the most shaming word in the whole world, by the way. We should ourselves and we should others today. You should do this. You should do that. We should do this. No, we shouldn't do anything. Get that word out of your dictionary. So I don't have time for people's opinions. I want their wisdom. And what I mean by that is I tried that. This is what it looked like. Here was my win or fail, and it could be in life, business, money, relationships. Here was my win or fail. Here's my learnings from it. Here's what I'm doing now, and here's what my life or business looks like now. That's wisdom. By the way, I just gave you leadership gold. Gold. Do that with your employees. Don't share your opinions, share wisdom. They'll understand the why. People want to know the why we're doing things, or why we're going in this direction, why do we have this strategy. Share wisdom and not opinions. So going back to the inner circle, I have been blessed enough to find people in my life who love to share wisdom and not opinions. They're abundant-minded people. They rarely talk about politics, COVID news, rarely. They talk about impact. They talk about legacy. They talk about significance. They all run giant businesses, not because, and these are all self-made people, which is a whole different conversation, but it's because they're good people. It's because they're good leaders. It's because they care. And so for me, my inner circle, I feel comfortable enough to get naked with them, figuratively. Is that right, figuratively? I'm from South Atlanta, man. I can barely speak English. But I can get what I call naked with them. If we're struggling, I can ask their opinion. And I usually get kicked in the face the entire time I'm there. Or I'm thinking about going this direction in business. This is what we're seeing in technology. This is what we're seeing with people. We've got this opportunity. And they also help me not chase every shiny object that's out there to go chase. We've gotten laser focused. So for me, having that inner circle, that board of directors, your chief executive boards, to come in, to seek wisdom, not opinions, to lean in on, to be better. And I just, for all of us humans, I think if you ask me what this world needs the most, it wouldn't be compassion and empathy and open-minded and all that nonsense. We have that. We don't have open-mindedness because we watch too much news. I would say it's personal accountability. I think that's what we're missing because we're being told we're a victim 24 hours a day, so now we're starting to believe it. And so personal accountability means this to me. And you're talking to a guy for 36 years, wouldn't hold myself personally accountable at all. Because I unconsciously chose to be closed, unconsciously chose to be angry, unconsciously chose to have the FU backpack on 24 hours a day. And then I made a choice to do something else. So I'm a firm believer that if you're struggling with anger, you're struggling in your relationship, you're struggling in your sex life, you're struggling with your leadership, your business is struggling, go find the nearest mirror, look into it. No, that is the problem and the solution. It is both. And what action are you going to do? Small actions each day to be a little bit better than you were yesterday in whatever area you need to do. But here's the truth, was we're lazy. I think I'm allergic to laziness. I'm allergic to it. Entitlement, laziness, and apathy. I don't like it. But people won't do what's in that book, what's in 1,000 different books. They just won't do it. They're lazy. And it's really convenient to do what we've always done. But that personal board is shot through my life.
Man, you're starting to lean into me. This is getting easy. So you said it's really easy to just like be lazy and do what we've always done. So I know a lot of times when I'm trying to lead myself and I know it's time to make a transition, I will live in that gray area and I'll just kind of, I'll make the excuse that I'm getting used to the idea, or I'm just waiting on that next thing to line up. So there is some beauty in the timing of the transition, but when it's finally a hell yes. What do you do to make it happen? Where do you go? Who supports you? Or even how do you get to the hell yes?
Yeah, so the truth is life is an art and science. The techies in here, they live in the science data technology world. The science is there's all these steps we can take. If you are an entrepreneur and have zero knowledge of finance, accounting, or cash flow, get it. There's a science behind it. It's simple. You can go learn it, right? You need it. You got to have it to go run a business. So that's the science. The art is knowing when to slow down to speed up, to assess. You'll know when you're scared. You can't let the fear dictate. You're just slowing down, assessing. We just did this in our segment of our practice, is we just really slowed it down to assess the opportunities, to assess the ecosystem, so that then we could speed up here and not all here. So the key is you've got to assess, and this comes with knowing thyself, it comes with self-awareness. Are you living in fear? Are you not moving because of, I'll fail, what will John across the street think? I'm scared of this, I'm scared of this opportunity, this is too risky. That's fear. And if you don't know if you're scared, again, work with somebody who will let that come out. But once you can't let fear anchor you. You just can't, you just got to feel the fear and do it anyway. So the art is knowing when to slow down to assess. And it's so hard for us entrepreneurs to not chase shiny. We're optimistic by trade. I mean, you wouldn't be in the room with you. I mean, like, oh, let's go do that. Oh, that's a great money opportunity. Let's go invest in coins that don't exist in technology. It's crazy. Which people are making gazillions on, so shame on me.
We need to do that.
Yeah, shame on me. But the art is you have to take action. You have to take intentional action. And let's say, and to me, there's an art in reverse engineering. This is getting really technical. This is what I actually work with people on. Okay, I'm a $10 million business. I want to be a $15 million business. Okay, let's start with the 15. What does operations look like? What does governance look like? What does employees look like? What is competition? And you just keep reverse engineering down. That's the science. Back to the art of what one thing can I do today to get to there? What's the one thing I can do today that can get to there? And so you have to assess whether you're not moving out of fear or anxiety or stress. And if you are, work on that shit. And then figure out whether or not this opportunity, use your board to figure out whether or not this opportunity is real, or this life challenge, to navigate that. But you've got to take action. I don't think this room struggles with taking action. I think society struggles with taking action. This room, because you're entrepreneurs and executives, does struggle with taking action in their relationships and in their families. That's what the data says. Don't send me hate mail. Oh, by the way, let me just tell you what. Do not send me hate mail here either. Here's what the data says. Do you know what men really want? It's two things. It's two things. Number one's easy. Sex. True. Second is respect, admiration, power, money, status, because it gives them sex. We're talking hundreds of thousands of years, from hunters and gatherers to all that. I mean, you can believe what the press says, or you can see what hundreds of thousands of years of human development says. That's what men want. Statistically, don't, oh, I'm the one. Okay, good for you, brother. There's always the one. Women, a lot of men in this room, you know what they want? Love. Most of the men in this room don't even love themselves, so how can you give them love? And they want safety. I don't care if there's the baddest woman in the room making $2 billion. She wants love and safety. That's just what we want. It's what's way down deep, no matter what's being told to us in our, you know what I'm saying? It's in there, it's in our DNA, it's in our genes. If we can just keep that in mind, because it affects every decision we make. And by the way, I know you cerebral folks, your techies out there, you think you make decisions with this? Nah. You make decisions here, emotionally, your gut. By the way, I used to work with this think tank. I'll stop. I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll. Because these are my people.
Keep rolling.
These are my people, man. I mean, you're my people.
That's why I brought my coffee up here.
Last thing is, we like to think we do everything here. Raise your hand if you own an iPhone. I think that's almost, raise your hand if you don't. That would be easier. Look at that. Paid a whole lot less for a whole lot better technology. If you don't think you make decisions emotionally and want to be part of the cool kids and part of the tribe and be accepted and loved, and look at me, they put the apple right here so people can see the effing apple right here when you hold it. I mean, that is 100% an emotional decision. Their ads, think differently. We're declaring war on HP. And then the other one says, intel inside. One is telling you that they're good. The other one is making you feel that you are good. By the way, our thoughts, 70 per second. That's what makes us human, right? That's the human part of the brain. The emotional side, can't remember if it's either 20 or 40 million per second. That's your gut, that's your heart, that's your soul, that's your blood, that's your intuition. That's when someone walks in the room and you melt, you shrink without them even saying a word, that's that. Or that great grandmother or aunt that comes in the room, the whole room lifts up, that's that. So you are emotional creatures making emotional decisions, and just kind of remember that. I'm just trying to give you some help, that's all. You have the floor.
All right. I feel like we've covered a lot.
Heather's like, shut up.
No, I'm not. I'm used to him. You guys have only gotten a 12-hour dose. How do you feel about playing a game that we'll see how you get? Yeah, no pressure. I feel like we've covered a lot, and you've had your soapbox, but there's also the Tommy Breedlove vocabulary. So I've got 10 words that you haven't necessarily covered or gone in depth in. So what I'd like to do is say a word, and you give me a sentence or two about what it means to you. And if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, just go. Deal? Okay. Number 1, accountability.
The key to success in life.
Okay. Let's go to fear.
Fuck it.
All right.
What drives society, what we're being fed 24 hours a day, and what we're starting to believe. Fear kept us alive. Even up to 300 years ago, if someone of a different color, of a different religion, of a different culture came to your village, there was a 90% chance they wanted something you had and were going to kill you to get it. The Brits didn't go to India to make it they went there to conquer it. It had something, so that's the fear's in us. It kept us safe. When the lion was chasing us in the woods, man, it kept us safe. Fear has its place. But we don't have a lion chasing us these days. It's the best it's ever been in society and culture. And we do have our issues that we're overcoming, but it's the best. So fuck fear. I won't go on a soapbox. Fuck fear.
All right, courage, number 3.
Courage is cultivated. It's cultivated through the work. Some people are naturally courageous, but I think it's cultivated through training, through the reps, through the mental, emotional, spiritual, and business reps. Courage is cultivated.
Okay. Zone of brilliance.
The key for this entire room to increase their profitability by 15%. You can read about it in the book. It's a cliffhanger.
Awesome.
Or I'll read it to you.
Yeah.
Well, I'll read it to you. If this southern voice doesn't bother you, I'll read it to you all day.
Try.
Try. I'll try to do it, Johnny. Or at work, I'll try to get to that. That means you're not going to do it. Eliminate the word try, and it's a lie. Yoda says, do or do not. There is no try. Try is a lie. Eliminate it from your vocabulary.
Execution.
Like in killing somebody or like action. Action. Let's look at
Well, I mean, if you've had a bad day, let's talk about the kill.
No. Execution, I mean, again, execution has to be intentional and purpose-driven. I'll say that.
Well, you know what was next? Purpose.
The reason why you are here on this earth during this season of life, and I want you guys to hear this, your kids, wives and husbands and families are not your purpose. If you say my purpose is my family, you're lying. They're your responsibility. It's higher than purpose. And they have their own purposes. And until your last breath, purpose can't be taken from you. And if you don't know what it is during this season of your life, find me, I'll help you. But your family is your responsibility. It is higher than purpose. Your purpose is using your God-given talents and something you enjoy to make a human, a business, a community, an organization, or this planet better. Purpose is how we serve, and it is where fulfillment to life happens. If you look up at the stars and think, why the hell am I here and why does this all matter? It's because you don't have purpose. And I love you. Most people don't have purpose. They're just zombies. Why am I angry? The Republicans are going to destroy the world. Anyway.
All right, I'm going to use gratitude as the last word, and I know you've gone there before, but I think it's a good one to end on and reiterate.
Gratitude for me is gratitude is not a ceiling. Doesn't mean you're content. You're entrepreneurs. You'll never be content. I could hand you all $10 million right now. Most of you go back to work in a week. That's just how it works. Gratitude is the floor we stand on. It is not the ceiling. You're not content. It is where happiness for what we have. It is where presence comes in. It is looking at all the love, learnings, and goodness around us. People focused on all the negative around, and I hate even saying the word COVID, but think about all the beauty and love and goodness and learnings that happened during that entire year socially and from equality. I mean, there's so much. Gratitude is where seeing the love, the goodness, and the learnings all around us and for what we do have and not focused on all the stuff that we wish we had or desires. To me, it's the foundation that we stand on. And if you take nothing away, is practice gratitude every single day of your life. And at 300 compound interest that'll pay, life-changing.
That concludes my segment of your program.
So here's what I'm going to do. How much time we got? Oh, yeah. Go ahead and applaud, please. Well done. I do want to take questions. I know it's hard. I know this stuff is personal. I know we talked about a lot of deep shit. Am I allowed to cuss, by the way? I think I should.
I kept it clean.
That ship has sailed. So also, here's a rule. Ask for forgiveness and not permission. So I'm sorry if I have offended anyone. Yeah, I would love, I know asking questions on these subject matters, that's why people pay me to go behind closed doors or come to our experiences, because they want some sort of change or transformation in their business or life. I know opening up sometimes is hard. It's interesting, we were talking about a person in the room last night, and Kevin was telling me his resume, and I know what all you guys do is important. I honestly, I could give two flying shits how much money you make or what you do. I just hope you do it well and you make impact and you care about doing it. Is that how much time we have left? That is badass. Yellow light, sweet.
See, that's why I run your life for a reason.
But then he told me about this gentleman's near-life experience and what he chose to do. And I guarantee you, as successful and as brilliant, the reason I bring all that up is the life-changing moment. I was putting myself, when he was telling me the story, that's when he had me at hello, and I'm putting myself in that, like, what would I change? It sounds cliche, but if we knew we only had a week or a month or 4 months or a year left, the thing that I want most for humans in this world is to die without regrets. We just need to spend more time with friends. We need to spend more time loving ourselves. We need to spend more time in nature. We need to spend more time not regretting. And I'm as ambitious and driven as the next, but I just don't want us to look back at a wake of just, no one's going to read our resumes when we die. Just remember that. So the reason I say all that is I'd love to take questions or feel free to ask Curry. We're open books, so ask away. I know it's scary. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Sure. And you talk about it in your relationship, but this is a bigger topic, but in general, when you feel like you're going down a path, like you started going down a path, but... Better?
Totally.
Okay. So you mentioned you were going down a path, you went to this retreat, you had a vision of where you wanted to go. And your significant other, spouse, maybe you don't feel like they're there, or they're not coming along. What would you recommend to try to bring them along, or a tool to get them to see your vision of the life together as opposed to drifting apart?
Great question. It's actually the question I get the most at our retreats. That question right there. The last thing you can do is say, you need to read this book. Their FU backpack goes crazy. And people don't want to think that they're flawed. They don't want to think that you don't want to put yourself above them, right? You want to be with them, not below them, not above them, but with them. The easiest way to do, say it's a vision, or you've heard some great piece of wisdom from a coach, or you've read a great book, or someone gave you great advice. You say, hey, honey, I was told this great advice. I applied it into my life. I now have this as a result, success, or I feel a lot more confident and courageous. Man, I just feel a whole lot more loving. Man, be the example, set the example, and talk about what your vision means to you and everybody around you and how you've leveled up in your life. Show the results, talk about the results, talk about how the emotions and the tangible of what happened around that. And usually, rising tides will bring up that ship unless there's some deeper, darker things they're not equipped with. Most of us have some deeper, darker things that we don't want to talk about. But hopefully, darkness likes darkness, by the way, and light likes light. So just kind of remember that. Hurt people hurt people. That's what you're seeing all over the world right now. And so set the example, talk about it. Say, hey, man, I just read this great thing today. Man, this is what it means to me. Hey, check it out. What does it mean to you? Just ask. Gamify it, but set the example. It's hard. It's really hard. The number one when I run an executive men's retreat, this is nuts. And these are people coming in to be better leaders, be better men, better husbands, better fathers. They just want to be better. Sharpen that pencil. Those are my people. The number one question I get from the wives is, what if my husband wants to leave me? Whew. That tells me right where they are relationship-wise. And the fear that he's going to go work on himself, stronger here, stronger here, stronger here, better leader, that the relationship is that fragile, that tells me where I need to work for both of them. So that's a scary thing, that if one person starts doing the work, that's why I'm saying pain likes pain, insecurity likes insecurity, fear likes fear. Usually when one person levels up, if there's true love and some stability there, it will lift them up. If it's on life support and a whole bunch of other things and demons in their head, it can be quite difficult. We'll just leave it at that because it's an individual by individual case. Anybody else got questions? I know this is, yeah, brother. I say brother a lot, and I also say literally a lot. I got to get literally out of my damn vocabulary.
So you said self-aware was the key to a lot of this success. What tools do you suggest to help ourselves or others be more self-aware?
Yeah, we talked about it. So remember, confidence is about doing the reps. So getting good at anything in life, business, sports, music, you got to practice, practice, practice. Unless you're Allen Iverson, you've got to practice. The sports guys will know what that means. Self-esteem has to be cultivated, and we don't teach it. We don't teach self-love. We don't teach mental toughness. We don't teach grit, and we don't teach financial anything. We teach people other stuff. And so you've got to cultivate it every day. And we talked about some tools. Is you got to know thyself, and that requires somebody else with you that you love and trust. It could be a mentor. It could be a coach. Men, if you really want to know your blind spots, just ask your wives. They will tell it to you. They will tell it to you. Men, you will not tell them because you're scared of them. There's some more data for you. But really looking in the mirror, because there's ways you act, there's ways you feel, there's ways you lead, and you're just a product of everything that's been around your ecosystem. So you're doing. People don't ever follow what you say, they follow what you do, and you're following all the people who were before you and around you, what they did. And so you need someone to help you with those blind spots. But it does go back to the cultivation of reading great books about getting stronger, standing taller, and applying it, doing the daily reps of meditation, doing the daily reps of reading, doing the daily reps of journaling, doing the reps of meditating, and setting the intention to be more courageous, more confident, a better leader, and then surrounding yourselves with people who will, the best friends in the world are the ones that will tell you you're an asshole. They're the best friends in the entire world because they care. It's daily work, and by the way, because we're being fed so much poison in our eyes, we melt every single day. We melt a little bit. The news, social media, what we're watching on TV. So the force field's getting hit by Darth Vader all day long. You need some Yodas. That's what I would recommend.
If you're trying to eliminate the negative people in your life, if that's a close personal family member or whatever, how do you deal with that without the,
The shame.
shame and
Yep.
yeah.
You guys know the difference between guilt and shame, by the way? Guilt is I've actually done something wrong to society or my core values. I've done something wrong. I'm guilty of that. You pay a price, however you've got to pay it. If you can beat yourself up over it, and I'm going to answer your question, over 2 years later, that becomes shame. Guilt is I've done something bad. Shame is I am bad. Societal pressure and culture has pounded us in, I am bad. So that's what shame is. So the truth is you want to limit the exposure to this person because they suck the soul out of you with their negativity, their judgment, their cynicism, their anger. And families are, you know the joke, right? You look around your family and you don't see the crazy when you're it. It's just it's a true joke. I don't have that problem in my family, so what I've had to do is I have a toxic family. I mean, in every way. Doesn't mean you don't love them, but you're not forced to like them. So what I have chosen to do is limit, I can steer conversation. It's called boundary setting, and you teach people how to treat you. And you can't shame them, you can't come to their level, but I've limited to the exposure that I have to them, and my relationships with those particular people have increased so well because I can guide the conversation. I can set a boundary by not even answering a certain question or responding to something and changing the subject. But you have to limit the exposure to any toxic people in your life because life is hard enough. And we can't change our family. We can't change our husbands. I can't even change you guys. I can only do this. They have to want and choose to change. Otherwise, you just have to limit the exposure to them. That's the truth. It's the hard truth. Friends are easy. Just stop responding. They'll go away. They're the easy ones. They just stop. They'll just go away. It's been pretty fascinating. Great question. I get that question. I should just answer those. Add those to the presentation. I get those a lot. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Will you tell us about your retreats?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
I'll tell you about the retreats. It is mostly entrepreneurs and executives. Here's the truth, and we're going to do something different for you guys. I'll let him tell you about that in a second. We've done men's programs, and I'll tell you why here in a second, for the last 2 years. We're starting the women in 2022, so we're not leaving you guys out. We're just going to screw it up on the male side first. But it is let me tell you why. Relationship issues, issues with family, mistakes in business, integrity breaches. The data says 8 out of 10 men, if a woman in the room, will melt and not share authentically. It just happens. They don't want to feel less than. Remember, status and sex. So, and they're not coming to the retreat for sex, so they don't want to lose their status. So, with that being said, it is a 3-day immersion. No cell phone, no computer, in a rustic setting that these executives come to sharpen their leadership skills, to sharpen being better men, better husbands, better fathers. It's no weird stuff like running through the woods with a loincloth and chanting and all that shit. We don't do any of that. I mean, it's out there, man. We don't go sit in a cold water tub and breathe for hours. Okay. That's for rich people to go sit in ice tubs. Have you noticed that? This Wim Hof's a genius. He gets very rich billionaires to go sit in the ice tub and freeze themselves. Kind of genius. But we take them through this full immersion of leadership, masterminding, coaching, and what we give these people is the gift of going second. And so you've got some pretty powerful people in the room who tell their stories about business, who tell their stories about leadership, who tell their stories about losing it all and regaining it. And it's a very safe, intimate, rustic environment with like-minded people, and there's a whole lot of prep. People just don't get to come. There's a lot of prep, a lot of stuff that we go through. But it's a place to where we work on purpose, our core value systems, leading better, getting better in business, but also getting better in relationships and forgiveness and some other stuff. Learning about who you are, where you're going, what you stand for, and what you want in your life. It is just a complete reset. It's the most powerful thing that I do. Not from me just up here saying attaboy, just from the comments and what people choose to do after that. It's pretty amazing. It's 5 minutes. I got you. I'm with you. I lied.
I just didn't want it to start dinging.
But we're starting.
That's me.
We're starting. Eventually, we're doing the women's program in 2022. We are going to open up a retreat for chief executive boards for men and women. Content will pretty much be the same. I'll be the facilitator. He'll be there. But eventually, we want to do it for couples as well, because we all need. I mean, we need it. So, I mean, this is not what it looks like to have it all figured out. I promise you. We have our moments.
So I went through this retreat back in April and not knowing what to expect. Like he said, there's a lot of front-end work that you have to do. And I came out of the retreat. It was 3 days. It was tough to set that crack piece aside for 3 days. But there was a lot of things that I learned coming out of this that really can help you to be a more conscious, self-aware, understanding who you are, what your purpose in life is, where you're headed, and feel confident about where you're going and where you're headed. Really eye-opening for me. And what I found is that self-awareness piece, you guys heard me, not last quarter, but quarter before last, talking a lot about morning routines. This is where it came from. I had one. We worked on it, enhanced it. And I noticed that I've been traveling a lot lately, so I slacked off on it.
Same here.
I can tell a tremendous difference
Same here.
in the fact that because I haven't been sticking with it. When I do stick with it, believe me, that self-awareness goes way up here. So it's an event that we're going to offer for the men and the ladies. We'll open it up for the ladies too in 2022. We're looking at targeting mid-March. I think March 14th through the 17th is what we're looking at.
Is that right, Lindsay?
In fact, I can get this to.
While he's doing that, you had a question, didn't you? I know we have 2 minutes and 56 seconds.
We're good.
I'm like looking at it. I'm like, we can do it.
Yeah, this is very quick. You're obviously very much invested in these retreats. What do you get out of them?
Exhaustion. No, I'm kidding. It's a full immersion. The beauty of what I do, here's the beauty about what I do, whether it's in a group setting, a speaking event, or one-on-one, is I get to talk in the mirror all day long. So I'm literally looking at myself saying, you're not doing that, dude. You're not, and I think that's what makes world-class coaches and executives is get authentic, you get real, and that's what I give to people when I'm there is, I am not doing what I'm telling you to do right now, and this is what it looks like in my life. That's authenticity. That's not emotionally bound. That's just being honest. And so I get the gift of sharpening my pencil. I get the gift of, I'll tell you what happened at a retreat. I got a 1 minute and 54, true story. I think it was when you were there. We go through this whole thing on relationships and how to make them better. And it's really powerful. It's one of the most powerful sessions we do. And I was talking about, we have a lot of businesses. She is a badass executive businesswoman. We lose ourselves in those businesses. We lose ourselves as being business partners. And then I know me, I can nitpick the shit out of things. I just nitpick the shit out of it. And I'm telling the guys, I'm committing to stepping back, being present, not being nitpicky, not an employer-employee or employer-employee relationship. 3 minutes later, we walk down to the beautiful dining room. And she's trying to talk to one of the men. I'm like, Heather, I need you to do this now. 3 minutes. I had just made the intention that I wasn't going to, I didn't make it 3 minutes. But what I got to do is stand in front of the entire group and own that shit. That's like example A. Something we're working on. We don't have it all figured out. We're not perfect. We're human beings, man. If we were immortal and perfect, this life would be super boring. So love our messiness. 42 seconds. So I get the gift of talking in the mirror all day. And he'll tell you, man, I put every ounce of energy I have into this. It's the best thing that we do. Anybody else in 29 seconds? Thank you guys for all listening.
I have one more question for you. And we do have a little bit more time here. I love your, this was the retreat that I attended, and I got to tell you, I would highly encourage you to go to it. I'm going to be there. I'll go through it with you if anyone has an interest in doing it. And if there's enough women who are interested in doing one, we'll put one together for you as well. I would love to send Angel to this. And so if there's other women that want to attend this, if she wants to go.
Clearly, this is what it looks like to have it all going on. Yeah. Read this.
So let me pivot. And I want to ask Tommy the question.
There's the boundary.
Tell me the difference between what a pro looks like and an amateur.
Oh my God.
I can't believe you didn't hit on that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother speech. Oh my God. There's so many things. So the whole next book is going to be about legendary leadership and being a pro versus being an amateur. There's so much amateurism that happens out there. It's it's an attitude of excellence. It's sharing wisdom, not opinions. It's not being part of a mob. It's standing in your core values. It's standing in your value systems. It's making really fucking hard decisions that are best for the person, the people, and not the person. Politics has it wrong right now. They're telling everybody they're a special snowflake, and we're going to adapt the entire system for a snowflake. We need to protect the people, the value systems, and the ecosystem, and sometimes that requires us making very, very, very difficult decisions that are unpopular for the betterment of the organization, the family, the community as a whole. And so pros, again, is about standing in your own power. It's about knowing where you're going. It's about knowing your purpose. It's about owning your time and not your time owning you. Busy is one of the busy means that something or something else, someone or something else is in charge of your time. So pros, it's about reconquering your time as well. And it's about living life with meaning and significance and impact, and knowing that if you do yourself first, invest here first, your friends, family, and network, don't forget them, second, that the results you'll have in happiness, fulfillment, business success, money, profit, you name it. That's a simplified version. I could go for about 6. One of my clients made me very angry one day, and was sick of his amateurism. He just wanted a drug and not a vitamin. And to me, that's what's wrong with the world too, is we want this quick fix. We want it now. We need vitamins. And so I was so angry at 3 a.m, I typed this 5-page dissertation on being a pro versus amateur, and I read it at that retreat. It was at 3 a.m, and so that's where all that came out to be. And so I'll leave it with that. All right. Thank you, everybody.